rest your arms.
Researchers are trying to find out why Marie-Josée Ménard is sick. Routine medical tests suggest she's fine, but she's not.
Awful. Awful. There were days I could barely get my arms up to drive.
The Montreal mom and teacher suddenly started feeling this way a decade ago. It took years before she was finally diagnosed with ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis. At first, the crushing fatigue and near paralysis was diagnosed as depression. That's common for people with ME.
It was in my head. People around me were just telling me, just get on with it. Oh, you're just tired. Everybody gets tired.
Chronic fatigue syndrome, or myalgic encephalomyelitis, was first identified in the 1980s. The prescribed treatment at the time was psychotherapy and exercise. It's an approach that has been long discredited, yet the idea that it is somehow a psychological illness persists, setting back research and recognition. Alain Moreau leads a network of ME researchers, created only recently after getting a research grant from the same federal agency which actually rejected his application a few years back after saying ME was not a disease, even though it's recognized by the World Health Organization and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. Moreau relies on 200 patient volunteers for his research. Some can barely move.
85% of the patients that we are testing are unique individuals that are so severely affected they are housebound, which means that we need to send clinical research nurses at home to do the testing.
Researchers are studying certain stress responses in the blood cells and spinal fluid of ME patients. Ron Davis is a pioneer in DNA sequencing. The Stanford professor is now focused on helping ME patients like his son with a new test that's already accurately identified the blood samples of a small group of ME patients. Davis says developing a reliable test is critical because ME is still diagnosed based only on physical symptoms.
I've seen so many doctors say, well, if you don't have a diagnostic molecular test, then I don't believe the disease exists.
For Marie-Josée Ménard, volunteering for these tests takes a toll. But the hardest part is the price paid by her children.
Not being able to be there for them.
But she says she'll keep doing the tests if it helps lead to a treatment. Vic Adopia, CBC News, Montreal.